So, this is my poem about Jose Rizal sa aking mga kabata by Dr. Jose Rizal. Yung aking drawing. At babasahin ko yung poem. Kapag kaya ang bayay sadyang umiibig sa langit salitang kaloob ng langit, saan lang kalayaan na saring masapi, katulad ng ibang nasa himpapawid sa pagkat ang salita'y isang katauhan sa bayan, sanayot mga kaharian. At ang isang tao'y katulad sa bagay ng alinmang likha noong kalayaan, ang hindi magmahal sa kanyang salita, mahigit sa hayop at malansang isda. Kaya ang marapat at pagyamanin kusa na tulad ng inang tunay na nagpala, ang wikang Tagalog tulad din sa Latin, sa Ingles, Kastila at salitang anghel, sapagkat ang poong maalam tumingin siyang naggawad, nagbigay sa atin ang salita natin, tulad din sa iba na may alfabeto at sariling letra na kaya na walay dinatnan ng sigwa at lunday sa lawa noong dakong una. My interpretation about this is the first stanza speaks that Rizal wants us to love our own language, and it is a gift from above that was given unto us to be grateful of. It is a blessing that, like any other nationalities, we were gifted of. We are aware that Rizal was motivated to write this poem during the time of Spanish supremacy, because we were under their colony. He addresses us to love our language, for it is our step towards liberty, as Rizal colorated it to a bird that can freely fly up in the sky. It has a will to fly whenever it wants to go and wherever it wants to do. But if this bird is not a whole like us, Filipinos, who cannot stand for what we believe is right, we will never experience independence. The next stanza implies that a nation that loves a God-given language also loves freedom, for language is the final judge and reference upon the people in the land where it holds and sway. A Filipino who loves his native tongue will definitely fight for his freedom. Seemingly, like a bird, lumilipad ng pagkataas-taas para mas malawak na liliparan. Para a person who preserve the marks of its liberty as man preserve his independence, language is not merely a communication tool but as an expression of one's identity. of one's individual and social consciousness. Without a common identity, there could be no real sense of nationhood. Love and use of one's native tongues was one of the badges of a true patriot. In the succeeding stanza, Rizal compared the person who doesn't love his native tongue from a portrayed fish. Just like fish, which originally lives in water, stinks every time it goes out in its place. Like some of the Filipinos that we could observe, we could see when they have reached a foreign country and adopted the foreign language and culture, they tend to forget their own. And as they have adopted that culture, they will be so naughty to despise, to scorn with their own fellow men. They hide and cover their identity for being a Filipino, even though it's very discernible. They just make themselves look foolish and shameful. And which the last two lines from the third stanza, Rizal addressed to us that our own language must be cherished and should not be forgotten because it's very valuable possession of our own country. Fascination when we discovered that Rizal was just 8-year-old lad when he wrote this poem. At a very young age and a boy who grew up speaking several languages, it is very inspiring to hear. Someone said, these lyrics with such a great nationalism, with great love of his own tongue reflecting our past, we saw ourselves unconsciously patronizing foreign languages. We wanted to be those whites who have slang tongues where have our native tongues has gone, we were gaining colonial mentality without our awareness. The bad news is we allow it to happen, and what Rizal was trying to resound, it was even our very own. Finally, the last stanza implies that we, just like the other nations existing, have its own exceptional characteristics.